Alright, so what's going on, guys? Nitro here. Hope you guys are having a fantastic week. And today I wanted to give you my initial thoughts, first impressions, I guess you could call it a review, of the Battlefield 1 pre-alpha. Now you might ask, why am I doing a review of something that's not even out yet? It's not even in beta, it's in pre-alpha. Well, I wanted to give my initial impressions because people have been asking me what I think about the game. Obviously the alpha is invite only, it ends July 19th, and so people want to know how the game is so far, what state is it in, what's good and fun about it, what's bad, or what do you think should be changed, and so that's what I'm going to be going through today. But do keep in mind that yes, this is a pre-alpha, and there will be a ton of changes made between now and October when the game is released. And of course, since people have to do this now on YouTube, no, this is not a sponsor video, I'm just doing this because I feel like doing it. So what are my initial impressions of the game? What do I think about it? Well, this is definitely something new, fresh, and exciting to me because lately, everyone knows that the first-person shooter genre has been kind of bland lately. You have a lot of the same things right now, games set in the future or in the present time. Obviously, Call of Duty is the biggest defender of this, with the past 3 games being set in the future. And I was honestly a little bit worried when I was waiting for the reveal of Battlefield 1, because I thought, well, they could go down the future route and bring us 2143, which I would not have been too happy with, or they could have brought us something like Bad Company 3, or even just Battlefield 5 set in modern day. But seeing the reveal trailer for Battlefield 1 for the very first time just gives you a chill down your spine. It was very well made, it hypes you up for sure, and so because of that, I was very excited to get my hands on the alpha. So let's talk about the gameplay itself. Is it fun? What's good about it? Well, let's start with the basics. The graphics in this game are amazing. You'll notice in the gameplay I'm recording at 1080p and the game looks stunning, the colors pop, the clouds are awesome, the environment around you is awesome. You have things like dynamic weather, which means that every map has a few variations of it. In this map, St. Quentin Scar, there's a variation where it's sunny in the daytime. There's another version where it's foggy and it's super dark, and there's another one where it's like pouring rain. And you can even see the rain effects on your gun and your soldier. It looks really cool, it's very well made, and it just looks like a beautiful game. Another aspect of the game that is amazing is the audio. If you listen to the sounds in the game, you feel like you are in a war zone. From the gun sounds to the environment, you can hear the echo of gunfire off in the distance. You can hear the vehicles and the planes, bombs going off, the music. It sounds really cool, and it really immerses you in the game. And that's the other thing I wanted to talk about, is the immersion. Battlefield has always been known for its destruction, all the way back to Bad Company 2, where basically every map you could flatten, which is insane, and of course they toned it down for Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4. But it looks like they definitely ramped up the destruction in this game. You can blow through so many walls, tanks can roll through buildings, destroying cover, I've seen whole buildings flattened. It's all very dynamic, so any explosives that you might have, if there's someone behind a wall, just chuck a grenade, an anti-tank grenade, anything you might have that's explosive, and it'll destroy the wall and hopefully kill anyone behind it. The destruction is very fun, a very cool aspect of the game, and it's something that I've always loved about the Battlefield franchise, and Battlefield 1 is no stranger to this. If anything, it's improved it from previous games. Now let's talk about class balance, because this is something that's always been a little bit weird in the Battlefield franchise, especially in the recent games like Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, Battlefield Hardline. Yes, Battlefield Hardline does exist, even if no one plays it. The class balance in this game is very good. It's a little bit different than previous games, and let me tell you why I enjoy it. There are 4 classes in this game. There's the Assault class, the Medic, Support, and the Scout. The Assault class gets submachine guns and various anti-tank grenades and weapons. The Medic class gets semi-automatic rifles, a medic kit, and a revive syringe. The Support class gets LMGs, ammunition, and tripwire mines, and the Scout class gets bolt-action sniper rifles, a Scout flare which spots enemies nearby it, and K-bullets which do increased damage to armor and planes. Now obviously there can be a lot more guns, a lot more gadgets when the game is fully released, but this is what's available as of right now in the pre-alpha. And I gotta say, I really enjoy the class balance here, because every class has a defined role and they're good at what they do. The Assault class is amazing at taking out vehicles. They have the most options compared to the other classes, so if there's a tank rolling by, you by yourself can take out a tank if you're smart about it. Of course, it's a little bit easier with a couple teammates, but it's definitely possible to solo a tank. The Medic class is good at what it does. You can throw medic bags to your teammates even if they're a fair distance away from you. You don't have to be standing next to them. So if they're behind cover, you're behind a separate cover, you can just toss them some bandages and they'll heal right up. The revive syringe is super easy, you don't even have to hold it down and charge it, you just tap it and they're back to 100 health. And I believe that the semi-automatic rifles are some of the best in the game. I went on a super epic streak using the medic class yesterday, and I had a blast. It's definitely one of my favorites in the game. The support class, however, is also very effective. This is something that I never really used in past Battlefield games because I felt like the support class was just kind of weak. They had LMGs in Battlefield 4, and you had ammo and maybe some sort of explosive like C4, which is usually what I ran with. And it just wasn't very exciting. I wasn't a fan of LMGs. But in this game, they're actually very good, especially at a distance. You definitely want to keep your distance from enemies if you're using these LMGs, but they are very effective, especially if you're just holding down the trigger. And of course, the Scout class is just fun. Sniping in this game is a blast. They actually made this a little bit easier, and I say this because the bullet velocity is actually faster compared to other games. This means if someone is running perpendicular to you, you don't have to aim that much far ahead of them. You don't have to lead as much, which makes sniping at a distance a little bit easier. Now the damage is also interesting because up close, snipers will not one-shot kill, but past several hundred meters, they will also not one-shot kill. There's this sweet spot that I'm sure you've heard of if you've seen other YouTubers' videos on Battlefield 1, where if you're about 200 to 300 meters away, you can get a one-shot kill even if you hit them in the chest with a sniper rifle. This means it's very easy to support your teammates from a distance while you don't have to stand 1,000 meters away on a hill. You can be very effective at range as long as you're within a reasonable distance from your enemy, and so you can actually help play the objective even if you're not directly on a flag. Because of this, sniping is very fun. I enjoy it, and it's probably the class I've played the most, maybe tied with the medic class. And so if you are picking up the game, whether it's going to be in the beta or when you actually buy the game at release, I definitely say try sniping because it is a ton of fun, even if you're not great at it. And speaking of fun, that is one thing that I gotta say about Battlefield 1. It is fun. There are a lot of tense moments in this game, as well as chaotic moments. If you're taking a flag and it's just you and one teammate, and there are also two enemies on the flag, it's very tense because you're trying to hunt each other down, it's quiet, you're sneaking around, and when you finally do get the kill and take the flag, it feels awesome. And of course there are chaotic moments too. There's lots of times where I was taking the D flag on the map, which I feel like has the most action. But there's always vehicles on the flag, there's two buildings that people are fighting across, people throwing explosives, blowing out the walls. There's a lot of fun when it's chaotic. And lastly, the thing that I enjoy about this game is the emphasis on teamwork. I'm very much a team-oriented person in video games. This is why I love games like Counter-Strike, Rainbow Six, and Battlefield, because they all put an emphasis on teamwork and how you need it to win. So let's talk about how they do that. Well, first off, because every class has their own role, you need to work together to achieve certain objectives. If you want to take out a tank that's rolling over your team, you need an assault player in your squad. If everyone is dying and you can't take an objective, you need a medic to revive your teammates and keep you at full health. If you're constantly running out of ammo, grenades, explosives to take out those tanks, a support player will work very well with an assault. And if you're constantly getting flanked, you don't know where the enemies are coming from, a scout is a great way to counter that. So if you're playing with a full, diverse squad, complete with an assault, medic, support, and a scout, it is very easy to take objectives because everyone benefits off each other. You use your gadgets and your resources to help each other, and the game becomes infinitely more fun and enjoyable. They're also encouraging you to play the objective. Going 35-0 will no longer get you to the top of the scoreboard. In order to do that, you have to capture and defend flags. You get 200 points just for following a squad leader's order and walking onto a flag. Not even capturing it, just walking onto it. If you capture that flag, that's an extra 500 points. And if you're getting kills while you're doing that, you get bonus points for all those kills. So if you're playing and getting kills on flags, you're easily going to reach the top of the scoreboard, and I like that. It gets people on the objectives, it discourages people from camping on a hill 1,000 meters away sniping, and it just encourages more fast, fun, and objective-based gameplay. And to me, that's the kind of game that I would enjoy. So let's talk about the bad now. What don't I like about the game? Well, first off, the biggest thing for me is vehicle gameplay. Now, vehicle gameplay and vehicle combat is a huge part of the Battlefield franchise, and this is no different in Battlefield 1. You have light tanks, heavy tanks, armored cars, planes, and I'm not sure what else there's going to be later in the game. I know you're going to have horses and things like that, but I don't know exactly what else is going to be in there. But as of right now, in the pre-alpha, I am not happy with the vehicle gameplay. Now, the main reason for this is just that it's very slow and clunky, and I don't like that. In games like Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4, I mainly stuck to the attack choppers because they're very quick, they don't have a lot of health, but they can do a lot of damage. So high mobility and high damage is what's fun for me. I feel like the tanks in this game are insanely slow, very clunky, and they don't have a lot of room to move. Now, there are also mechanics about the tanks that make it harder to play. For example, your track can get disabled if someone throws an explosive on it, making you unable to move. They can disable your turret also, making you have to fix yourself. And then your repair can actually be cancelled if you take damage while you're repairing. So there are all these things that make it very difficult if you're under fire. Now I understand that it takes experience to get good at tanking in the game, and obviously I haven't put in that time to do so. But to me, I just don't want to put in the time to learn these clunky vehicles and get good with them, because it's just not fun for me. These slow moving behemoths aren't really that enjoyable for me to use. I would much rather be on the ground supporting the tank than actually inside it. Because I will agree that if you have a good tank player, it can be very effective and help your team take objectives very easily, but I'm not a good tank player, and so I guess that is a very biased opinion, but because it's just very slow, they're very old, and even when you're inside the tank, the field of view is so tiny you can't see what's going on around you. It's just not enjoyable for me, and so personally, I think I'm going to be staying out of the tanks. Now the biplanes are a little bit different story. Yes, they are very slow too, they're not a fighter jet like you see in Battlefield 4, but I feel like those can at least be somewhat effective. I will say dogfights with other biplanes can be a bit difficult because they're not as agile, so turning and trying to get on target can be difficult at times. Maybe that's just because I'm on a controller, and if I had a mouse and keyboard, I might be more accurate and able to get on target more easily. But as of right now, the biplanes are not terrible. I think they're fun to use, but I think aerial combat, plane versus plane, could use some work because I feel like it's very hard to just hit the plane. Now, like I said, I do need to put in the time and the experience to do this, so that I get good, and so that I can get good gameplay, but I haven't done so yet, so I don't think they're the most fun thing to do in the game. I do think if you put in the time to learn it, you can get very good, and you can enjoy it and dominate the battlefield. Now, the next bad thing on my list is the hit registration. I think at times it is questionable at best. For those of you that played Battlefield 4 since launch, you know that when the game came out, the hit registration was terrible. You would put a whole magazine into someone and they wouldn't die. You would be getting shot behind walls, and it was just a really frustrating and annoying experience. And as of right now, it's not in that state in Battlefield 1. I feel like there are times where I do get shot behind walls, and there are times where I put a couple bullets into someone, but they don't take damage. Now, obviously, it is a pre-alpha. I know I've said this several times in the video, so the game isn't finished. It's just a testing state, so hopefully they fix this. But I do want to put this in the video because of what happened with Battlefield 4. I don't want another launch like that. I want it to be smooth and enjoyable when the game launches, because no one likes being shot around walls. It's very frustrating. You feel like you got cheated, and of course no one likes putting 10 bullets in someone and then not taking any damage. So obviously this is not a message to DICE because they most likely will not ever see this video, but this is just something I want you guys to be aware of if you do end up playing perhaps the beta. Now, other pre-alpha problems include glitches. Yes, there are a ton of glitches in the game. Like I said, it's pre-alpha, so it's not really that big of a deal. The biggest thing I noticed is just the glitches with the destruction. So if you destroy a wall and there's rubble all over the place, sometimes your character gets stuck on the rubble. Sometimes vaulting over objects is a little bit funny, like going over walls. You kind of just like freeze for a second and then like glitch over the wall. So like I said, this is just pre-alpha stuff, and hopefully this is fixed by the time the game comes out. And finally, the last thing I want to mention is just the Zeppelin gameplay. All of you guys have seen the Zeppelin. It's the giant balloon thing where there's a bunch of machine guns on it, you can drive it around, and the losing team gets the Zeppelin to help them kind of make a comeback. I gotta say, the Zeppelin honestly isn't that fun. I don't think it's a bad thing in the game, but personally, I just don't think it's very fun being inside it. The bullets don't do very much damage at all, it's not accurate. Now I understand that's a good thing, because if it was accurate and did a ton of damage, it would be overpowered as hell, but because it feels like enemies are just bullet sponges and it takes like 20 bullets to kill someone, yes, that is an exaggeration, but because it takes so many bullets to kill someone, it's just not that fun for me to be inside of it, so I kind of stay away from it. I'd rather be on the ground with my accurate weapons, trying to make a difference there. Now on the flip side, getting shot by a Zeppelin on the enemy team isn't that fun either, because you're constantly getting pounded by bullets that are coming from the sky. They're not doing very much damage, they're just suppressing you, taking down your health about halfway, and it makes it easier for enemies on the ground to take you out. So yes, it means the Zeppelin is effective and it does its job, it's just not very fun to be on the receiving end of it. So yes, I think the balance is fine on the Zeppelin because it's effective, but it won't dominate a team. It's just a support tool that you have if you're losing, and so I think that's fine, but personally, I don't enjoy being inside of it, and I think it's a little bit annoying getting shot by it. I just wanted to mention that in there. I don't think it's a terrible thing, it's not game-breaking by any means, but if you are considering going inside the Zeppelin, just know that's how I feel about it. So that about wraps it up for my review of Battlefield 1, at least the pre-alpha version, guys. I told you guys what I liked about the game. The graphics, the audio, and the destruction make it very immersive. The theme, set in World War I, is awesome. It's a nice change from what we've had previously. I think the class balance is very good, sniping is very fun, And overall, the game is fun. There's a lot of chaos and tense moments. I love the emphasis on teamwork. I don't like the vehicle gameplay. I'm not quite sold on that yet. I'm not sure how they could change that, to be honest. I think that's just part of the game. It was the time period. So maybe in this game, I'll just be an infantry player. It's hard to say at this point because, like I said, it is pre-alpha. The hit registration, there's some glitches that have issues. And of course, I'm not too sold on the Zeppelin gameplay either. But that's going to wrap it up for this review, guys. Let me know your thoughts on the game based on the gameplay you've seen. If you managed to get in the pre-alpha, let me know what you think, what you like about it, what you don't. And that's going to wrap it up for this video, guys. So thank you very much for watching. This did take a decent amount of time to make, so I would appreciate any feedback in the comment section, any likes, shares, all that good stuff. Feel free to subscribe if you're new to the channel. Hopefully going to be uploading some more Battlefield 1 gameplay soon. I'm trying to record as much as I can because it ends July 19th, so I want to get as much gameplay as I can and share that with you guys. So once again, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate all the support recently, and until next time, have a good one, and I'll catch you later.